I was listening to the story about, there was a story of a family in Washington, and the little boy called the Bigfoot the cowboy man. And he had, apparently it had made an effort to steal this kid. And it hit me. My children were in that playpen behind me with nothing but a mosquito net over them. It could have crept up behind me and taken both of my children, and I wouldn't have known.
Father just got like a Mustang or something from Wyoming, okay? He had it out in the corral because he couldn't put it in the barn in the stalls with the other horses. It would kick and made all the other horses nervous. Had a Seminole Indian working the horse trying to break it every day. So they had it out in the corral. This skunk ape snuck up behind this horse and grabbed it on its hind quarters. This particular horse kicks out, jumps over the corral, runs into the pasture, to get away. At this point, the rancher's out there just blasted away with the dirty. Skunk ape runs into the swamp.
I went up there one day after that, or 2 days after that. I went up there and sat in the silence up there, and I'm telling you, man, it was free. It was crazy. There was a crazy vibe up there still. I did what I could to kind of get things under control, but I told her, I said, you need to get off this property. I feel like no matter how strong you are, it's almost like standing in the ocean. You can't stand still without moving your feet. You're going to get knocked over eventually, no matter how strong, whatever. You can't withstand a barrage of weird spiritual energy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Paranormal Odyssey. Hope everyone is doing well. Let's see if... you guys can hear me, should be able to hear me. Hope everyone is doing well out there tonight on this day before the 4th of July. Glad everyone could, or those of you that can watch it live, glad that you are joining us. Those of you that will catch it later, we sure do appreciate that. All right. As I mentioned last Friday, we were going to have Mr. Carter Buschardt back for his round 2 tonight. So he is backstage and ready to go. Those of you that watched Friday, you noticed that Lisa was only with us for about half the show, and she was having to jump on and off while she was here. She got called away, had to run to set. I'm still dealing with the new movie that she's working on. So get all of that straightened out and get her back full time, hopefully soon. Also, something else before I get into all the other stuff, I misspoke last week. I said last week that was going to be our last Friday show for a little while. Unfortunately, I didn't check my calendar before I spoke, and I actually have 2 more. So this Friday we have a guest, and then next Friday we have a guest, and then that will be the last one, and we'll be moving to Tuesday nights after that. All right, everybody. Again, welcome. Thanks for hanging out on this Monday evening. See how many people we get to come in here in a little bit. Those of you that are new to the show, I ask that you hit that subscribe button. If you don't mind, we sure would appreciate it. If you've had an encounter and would like to come on and share it with me, I would love to talk to you about that. Shoot me an email to wayne@paranormalworldproductions.com. That is the best way to get a hold of me. And guys, it's real important. If you've had something to happen to you, I've said it a million times. I think Mr. Carter Buschardt would agree with me. Most people would. Until we have one of these things in captivity, the best way to learn about them is from people that have experienced them. If people aren't going to come on, or not here, but anywhere, if people aren't going to share what they've experienced with these things, we're not going to learn about them, because, we can't go to a zoo and watch them. Nobody's got one in their basement that I'm aware of. So it's just really important that you share. If you've seen something, say something, and let's get all these encounters out in the open so we can continue to put puzzle pieces together. And if you want to do that here on this show, Wayne at Paranormal World Productions is the way to go about that. Want to ask everyone to head over to paranormalworldproductions.com. Check out the website over there. Show some support for all of the shows under the Paranormal World Productions umbrella. Also want to remind everyone about my organization, Manimal Research Facebook group. If you're not a member there, you are welcome to come over and join. I'd love to talk to you and see what you've experienced here. Hear your thoughts on the subject. All right, guys. Last time Carter was here, you had some questions and comments, and that was awesome. Probably going to have some tonight. I hope that you do. Anyway, Carter is expecting them. If you do, though, please put those in all caps. I would appreciate that greatly, especially being by myself since Lisa's been busy. It's hard for me to keep up with everything. So if you could put those in caps, it makes it a little bit easier. I would appreciate it. All right. Got all of that out of the way. Let me just say hello real quick to some of the people we got in here. Carson, what's up, buddy? Yvette, you are back. Thank you, ma'am, for hanging out all the way in Australia. I believe that's where Yvette was coming from. Tea Time with Tiffany, moderator extraordinaire. Thank you, ma'am. Naoma Finn, one of my favorite people. Thank you, ma'am. Dude from Texas. What's up, buddy? And Brown Dwarf just jumped in. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out this evening. All right, all of that out of the way. We are 7 minutes in, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Mr. Carter on. Carter, how you doing there?
I'm stunning. How are you?
You are stunning.
Yeah, I can't help it.
I appreciate
My mother was stunning.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming back so quickly to get a part two out of the way. You sent me some more pictures. You had a big response from the pictures that we shared last time, so thought it'd be a good idea for you to throw some more at us, and we'll talk about them. We didn't get into a whole lot of your other personal encounters last time, so that's why I wanted to bring you back and talk about some of those. You shared the kind of supernatural, I guess a lot of people would call it woo, experience that you and your wife had, where your car was not in the place it was supposed to be, but you didn't get to share a lot more. You just want to jump in there and tell some more encounters?
Yeah, this was not particularly supernatural, but it is by far a benchmark moment in my career doing this, because this is the time a clan made contact with me. I don't know that I made contact with them, but they made contact with me, and it continues to this day. All kinds of weird stuff. I did an expedition for BFRO in 2019 in Illinois. Did we go over that? We didn't go over this, did we?
I don't think so.
Yeah, and well, it's on the cover of my second book. But anyway, this was in Murfreesboro, and it was very, very, very near the Trail of Tears. Yeah, it's in the second book. See that log with the rocks on it. Okay. So I led an expedition. It had been booked for a while. The person who was going to do it canceled at the last minute, so they had to refund a bunch of money. But there was 4 people left who did not want a refund. They wanted to go on an expedition in Illinois. So BFRO sent out an APB, hey, can anybody do this expedition, because the guy can't do it. These people are adamant they want to go. So I told them I'd do it. I'd never done one in Illinois and thought, well, what the heck? So to keep it short, I scouted the area, and we ended up going to the Trail of Tears. And when I was in Murfreesboro scouting, I was asking around. I always go to the little mom and pop, breakfast joints, cafes and stuff, because that's where all the regulars go, all the locals. So it's one of those places where you walk in and everybody stops what they're doing and looks around at the new guy. So
Mhm.
it was 40 pairs of eyes on me. I'm going. So I say, well, hey, I'm looking for a good place for searching for Sasquatch, Bigfoot. Anybody got any great ideas? That's what I want. So virtually every person to a man who answered me said, well, there's a place you don't want to go because there's some weird stuff going on there at night. Nobody will go there after dark, period. The baddest MFs in town will not go there because there's some weird stuff and they're scared to death. So nobody will go there. I said, well, that's where I'm going to go because that sounds too good to pass up. So I took my 4 people and my partner who lived in Illinois. We went on a Friday and a Saturday night. We found a bunch of prints, really good footprints. We cast, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 really good footprints, and we, saw structures and stuff. It was all that was all well and good, but this is the really cool part. So we went down there. Now my partner is an older guy, and he has had a stroke, maybe 2, cancer, so he doesn't get around real good. He has to walk a couple of walking sticks. So he could not go down in this gully, this area we went to in the Trail of Tears. So he stayed in this truck in the parking lot. So it was me and the 4 other people. We went down, and this was about 11 o'clock at night. We heard a whole bunch of stuff going on. We could hear the Sasquatch were following us down this ravine. They were snorting and huffing. You could hear them stomping and snapping twigs and stuff, but we couldn't get them to communicate. We tried howls and knocks, and it just didn't work. And I'm not much on doing howls and knocks unless I'm responding. So when you put it out there and it doesn't get returned, it's kind of a dead end. Anyway, so we had a good activity for that night. And so we went back home. Then Saturday night, Harold, my partner, could not go because he was kind of worn out. So he stayed in the campsite in his tent because we didn't camp in the Trail of Tears. So we went down and we went back down there. Well, that was a Saturday. And Saturday actually was the first day of hunting season. And so that was a mess because there was gunfire going all day long out there. And we went there at night, it was dead because they were shooting up the place. So nothing. In fact, when I went down there to check on some casts that we had left, I saw a couple of hunters up in trees and blinds already. I was waving at them. I was walking. So I was going, well, okay, this is going to be a dead end. But overall, it was very successful. We had a great time and everybody was happy. So we decided that 2020, Harold and I would meet down there again. I drove from my house to Trail of Tears. Is about 350 miles from my house in Liberty, Missouri to Trail of Tears. So we met, camped in the same place. He and I drove out to the area again, and we started walking down there. Harold could only go so far, but it was further than he'd ever been before. It was pretty cool. So this was 2020. COVID had hit, and so there was nobody out. It was me and him, no campers, nobody was out. Now the restaurants were closing early, and there was nothing going on. But we went down there, and this was Saturday night. And we decided, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave a camera. We went down to where we had gone and where we had stopped. And that's a nice big fallen log down there. So a good stopping point. So I said, I'm going to leave a camera here and I'm going to come back and get it on the way back to Kansas City in the morning, which was Sunday. So I left a trail camera there and went back to camp, got up Sunday morning, came down there. And on the way back home, I stopped to get my camera. So I go down there to where the camera was, and my camera was there. But on the log that was laying, which is on that book cover, there was 6 rocks. They weren't there before. They weren't there the year before, and they weren't there the day before when we were there in the daylight. So when you look at that, you can't really see it real good. I'll get a book.
I believe I can see it. Is it on the end closest to the left?
Yeah. Put the live thing back. I think you can see it easier here.
Okay. There you go.
So right there,
yeah,
you see 5 rocks, and on the other side, I got to do this backwards. Over here is one rock all by itself.
Ah.
And I'm looking at that. I'm going, well, that's weird. It's COVID. There's nobody out. I mean, there's nobody. And when we left, it was about 2:30 in the afternoon. It was just October when we went. It was getting dark by 5:30. So there's nobody out. So I'm trying to figure out where these rocks came from, and sometimes the bushcrafters or, nature people will make little rock stacks and, pay homage to Mother Earth and all that kind of stuff. So I was looking at it, and I'm starting to get the chills right now, because every time I tell this story, I get all emotional, because it was just a sock in the face. I looked at that, and that one rock is a pointed arrow-looking rock, and there's 4 rocks behind it. I'm looking at that and I'm going, what? Oh, wait a minute. Oh my God. That's me. I'm the leader. That's me. They got these 4 rocks up there behind me. That's the 4 people on the expedition, and me in the front is the big arrow pointed rock. That's me leading the way. And on the other end of the log is this short round rock, which was representing Harold, because he was there but not there, because he never made it down when we had gone down with the expedition. So I'm going, oh my God, gee, oh crap, they left, they saw us, they're making contact. I mean, I knew what it was. I mean, it just came to me. And so I was all freaked out, and I called Harold, and he was going, oh my God, that's awesome, wish I could come see it. So I'm getting pictures, don't worry, I'll get pictures. I called my wife to tell her, because I was going to head home. And I said, you're not going to believe this. I told her what I just told you. I said, there's 5 rocks here. There's me and the 4 people behind me and Harold. And she was going, oh my God. I said, well, when did this happen? I said, well, I don't know. It had to have been after like 2:30 or 3, because it gets dark at 5 and it's COVID. Nobody's out. I don't know, but it happened. Oh my God. I'm freaking. And so she goes, what time? I said, I don't know, but after 5, 6 o'clock at night, maybe, I don't know. Could have been daylight. I don't know. She goes, well, I want to tell you something. Last night, I get ready for bed, and a blue orb comes into our bedroom and is flying around in circles. And then it flies into the bathroom and disappears. She saw it in real time. She also saw its reflection in the mirror on our dresser in the bedroom. And I said, they're making contact. They're telling me and you that they know where I live. They knew that was what that was. I'm getting the chills right now when I tell it, because it's just like one of those aha moments where it just changes everything. And so I went home and I took dozens of photos, and that's how it ended up on the book. But it was just like fantastic. Now here's the weird part. Since 2019, I've started this document here. It's a Word document. It's called Strangeness at Home. We've had probably 30, 35 events in our house that started that day and has continued irregularly, but it's all kinds of stuff. Voices, knocks on our door when there's nobody here. Something yanking the pillow out from underneath my wife's head while she's sleeping, all kinds of bizarre stuff, lamps coming off the table, something tapped me on my head 3 times while I'm watching TV. The next night, we're watching TV again, and our remote control jiggles a little bit on the coffee table. It's just like this, it kind of jiggles, and the TV goes off. The Sasquatch know where I live, and they're communicating. I mean, they're making contact. It's mind-blowing. So, but I mean, it is what it is, and I'm not making it anything it wasn't. It's just like, that's what that was. And I probably could have looked at that on a different day and gone, oh well, that's just some cool people wanting to put rocks on a log, and that's it. But I mean, what are the odds of me finding 5 rocks on one end and 1 for Harold on the other? We went back the next year, 2021, COVID's still going on. I met another partner of mine, Chris, and I took my partner from here in Kansas City, Brian, with me. All those rocks were gone. The rock on the very end represented Harold was over on the side where the 5 rocks were. Harold made it all the way down to that tree that day. And that rock that represented him was signifying that he made it finally. And I know it was the rock because I had dusted all the rocks for fingerprints. I carry a DNA kit in my car at all times, a print, scat, blood, whatever, saliva. I've got a complete crime scene kit in my car. And so I dusted it for prints just on the off chance I might have got something. Well, I didn't, but it still had the black dusting powder on the bottom of the rock that wasn't exposed to the elements on there. So that was his rock. Just bizarre, but just fabulous at the same time. So that's not paranormal, but they made contact, and so that's just like one of my seminal moments for me. It meant so much to me, and it still does, because it's, in the contact, I get images in my head at night. They're contacting me. I'm seeing where they live. They show me a day in the life where the kids are running around eating bugs, digging in the ground, poking at sticks, and they're just kind of like a family picnic. There's mom and pop and 4 or 5 other squats and kids running around doing all kinds of stuff. I'm seeing this, and I'm seeing these images. And here's the weird part. This is going to be in the quantum thing, and I have another witness had the same thing happen. They're showing me I'm going down this ravine, which looks very similar to my research area here in Missouri, where I told you about the thing with my wife and I. And it also looks like the same spot there in Trail of Tears. And I'm going down, but kind of slow, and I'm seeing the rocks, but I'm going really slow, but everything's going by super fast.
Yeah.
Your version of time and space is completely different than ours. So what I feel, and I can see that I'm going down, but it's going by like 60 miles an hour, and I'm moving maybe 20, not even 20. You know what I mean? It was just, it's crazy. And it's that way every time. But sometimes there's 3 or 4 of them. Sometimes there's 1 or 2. And it looks like they're all kind of looking into a camera, kind of looking at me like they're trying to all get their face into this one little area, like I don't know, a portal or whatever this sphere of where I'm going down is. It's fabulous. It's bizarre. It sounds like Star Trek, this guy's smoking dope, whatever, but it's the real deal. It's just fabulous. It's incredible. So that's that story in a Cliff Notes version. But we have stuff going on here at the house to this day.
Yeah, Carter, I wanted to ask you about that, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing the show justice if I didn't ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that it's Bigfoot? Like these things going on in your house, a lot of people would think I live in a haunted house. I've got ghosts or poltergeists or something like that. How do you know it's Bigfoot?
Yeah, well, because I get those little visions. Because at night, I'm a type A, my wife's a type A. We don't sleep really well, so we listen to metaphysical, meditation type music, or spoken word, just try to calm down and meditate. But yeah, it could be, but it started that event started there. Now here's a caveat. At this location in the Trail of Tears, 94 Native Americans froze to death on this one trail. So we could have brought a spirit back, not out of the question. But whatever it is, those rocks, I don't think the spirits put those rocks. Maybe they did. I don't know. I didn't see anything, but
yeah.
That's a good question. And it's, I'm open to explaining it. I explain it with all the emotion and visual that I got at the time. And that's how I define it. And it could be because we've had a lamp go flying off the table and crash into a mirror. It's just a little cheap Las Vegas lamp. And it's about that, it's just plastic, a piece of junk. But it went flying off our bar and hit a window. I'm going, okay, cats. But the cats were asleep on the other end of the sofa where I was. And so just a lot of things, I had something pick me up out of the bed. I felt like 3 or 4 hands under each leg, and they lifted me up, and they were slowly carrying me to the edge of the bed. This is already after my wife had had her pillow jerked out from underneath her head while she was sleeping one night. And so when this was going on, these hands, I could feel them kind of going under my legs and working their way under and picking me up. And I'm going, right about that time, my wife gets up and go take a leak about 1:30 in the morning. I say, "Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this?" She just gets up and is walking like I'm not there. She doesn't hear nothing. She doesn't even look back at me, nothing. She just gets up and walks and goes to the bathroom. I'm looking at this kind of like a little fog thing. And I'm getting closer and closer to the edge of the bed. And as soon as she flushes the toilet, they drop me and it's over. And it all stopped. Now, we talked about maybe lucid dreaming, which could be a possibility. I can't dismiss anything really, because I don't know, but it all started with that expedition to the Trail of Tears 2019. Now, 94 people died. Tragic, horrible deaths. They were trying to get to the Mississippi River, which is just a mile or two away, and they just couldn't get there. At that time, pastors, ministers, preachers, and people sympathetic to their plight, because what the white man did to the Native Americans. So they were about every 5 or 10 miles, there would be someone from a church meeting them to give them food and clothes and make sure they're going in the right direction, that kind of stuff. And then they go back. So it could have been a Native American spirit, but the Sasquatch, probably 8 to 10 times I've had this vision of their little area, and the little Sasquatch are running around, and sometimes there's 4 or 5 Sasquatch all look like they're trying to look into the lens of a camera, so I can see them, and I can see them, they can see me, and that kind of thing. So that's why I equate it with
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of poltergeist, ghost, spirits from the dead, but whatever it was, it's a real thing. It's happening, continues to happen, and it is just fantastic. It's just like, and I'm gonna, if the Sasquatch, probably every 6 to 8 weeks, I'm gonna get a vision, and I'll see them in my head, and I'm always going by. And this is the weird part. 2 years after that, I get called by a witness here in the Kansas City area. He saw a triangle with 3 planets, Earth, Saturn, had rings, and then another unnamed planet. He was going through space, stars, planets going by him very fast, but he was headed toward this triangle, which had the planets in it and stars. And he was heading toward it. He could tell he was getting closer. And then he woke up from the dream. He was seeing this. So it was just very similar to what I had seen. Bizarre. I don't believe in coincidences. It's just really weird and so that's another reason I put it on the Sasquatch people, because it's too similar.
Yeah.
It only happened to him one time.
And the fact that it didn't start until you had these experiences, I mean, that would probably be enough for me. But
that's just how I deduced everything. I mean, I'm just an old hippie. What do I know? But it's just it's like an acid trip back in the 70s. Or last Thursday.
Word for it.
But it was just it's fantastical and surreal. But it is a real thing. It's just off the charts. Like what? But I can put no other culprits in there. I just can't put it with anything else. It could be other things, but I would say that was the instigatory event that started it all.
Yeah. Now, Carter, have you ever had what the BFRO classifies as a Class A sighting?
I have never seen a class I have never had, which is really bizarre of all the weird stuff I've come across. I have never had my Class A daylight sighting. Now, I've seen humanoid shapes in the forest moving around. I could see, and it sure looks like one. And
Yeah.
they're really big, but they're in the forest, in the shade, in the tree, and I can't tell what it is. I've seen the big humanoid shapes walking around in the forest at night and under a full moon, and you know what you're looking at. But I've never had that visual, and maybe it's just not my turn, or maybe it's going to happen because everything else seems to be happening. And
Yeah.
part of the thing with COVID is I've got to. I've just got to stay in the house, like everybody else. I can't go out in the field like I used to because of that. So that's when I wrote the 3 books during COVID. When the COVID was going on, I said, well, screw it. I'm just going to write books. I can't go anywhere, can't do anything. Even my people who live in rural, isolated properties, all my habituation people, they don't want somebody coming out to see them because I'm a city slicker,
Yeah.
So, you might be bringing something out here. Y'all just stay home. We love you, but stay home. Don't come out here. And that's okay. I respect that.
I haven't had that typical Class A sighting either. I want to so badly. I can't stand it. But I believe I've seen one and I got a thermal picture of it. I'm waiting on that Class A though.
Yeah, I've had 3 thermal sightings that are like unmistakable. They're Sasquatch,
Yeah.
but it's not the same thing. You see in a white heat signature, but it's a naked giant ape-looking humanoid body. It's just a solid white, so there's no clothing, there's no nothing. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not
Yeah,
definitive.
that's what I've had.
It's not definitive, but you know what you saw.
Yeah,
I know what I saw,
exactly. All right, let's throw some of these pictures up here. Talk about.
Okay, there's some good ones in there. If we're running low on time, okay.
No, we're good.
This came from the handprint property, the one you've been showing with the preacher in that hand that was 4 seconds apart.
Mm-hmm.
This comes from their property. As you can see on the right hand side, there's a deer, and on the left hand side is a hand. It's not my people. And let's see here. What's the time stamp on that? It's about 5:30 in the morning.
Let me cut this banner off.
It's 7/21/2022. So it's 5:30 in the morning. That's assassin. There's nobody out there. Nobody lives there.
It's still dark at 5:30.
Yeah. And I think, in the next photo after that, there was nothing. So that deer may have been dinner or breakfast.
Yeah.
It's just it's a interesting photo. I'm hypothesizing if the deer was that close, the rest of his body is going to go down and pretty much be meeting the body of that Sasquatch. And I really can't tell what's, you see the hand on the left-hand side, what's on top of that hand coming over. I really can't tell. It doesn't look like growth. It could be the other hand is reaching over. I don't know. It's all speculation, but that is to me, it's just very intriguing.
Yeah.
And
I see what you're talking about, coming off the top of it.
Yeah. So it's just, but it came from that property where the preacher and that hand in front of the camera came from. Same place.
Okay.
Just very intriguing.
Let's go to the next one. And I've got a black and white and a color. I'm going to pull up the black and white first.
Okay. This is a black and white version of the color photo that I got, which you'll probably show later. I reversed it. Yeah, there it is. That's the original. This was taken in Clinton County, Missouri. And no, there are no chimps running amok.
That's what it looks like.
It looks like a freaking chimpanzee.
You're right.
Now, you can see the bottom of its foot pad. You see the 2 cheeks of the butt.
Yeah,
it's a juvenile for sure. I've been to that property, stood in that very spot. So, and what do you do with that? There's no monkey got loose from a circus train or any kind of weird story like that. And here's the really sad part is that this guy real good, down to earth guy. He's very frugal, and his wife is a realtor or was a realtor. They shared a camera and they shared the SD card. If she needed to go take pictures of a house, guess what she would do? She would take one of the SD cards out of his trail camera, stick it in her camera, and go take pictures. There was about another half dozen photos, he told me, at the other end of this sequence, and they're gone.
Yeah,
And
as Naoma says here, it looks like it's mooning the camera.
yeah,
Right?
well, it looks like it's walking on all fours.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
but
it's walking all fours. If you switch
and
to the white version, yeah, it's a
I,
juvenile. Dude
I
from
agree
Texas.
with dude from Texas. It looks like
Yeah, no,
a
it's a juvenile. It's not very big because I've been to that. I've stood in that exact spot, and so another thing we did was we stretched a wire cable, a real thin wire cable, about 30 foot across this gully. I shimmied up a tree about 25 feet, and we ran this wire and then ran it all the way across to another tree. I climbed up that tree, and we hung a bag of apples right in the middle. And so, raccoons or squirrels couldn't really get to it. And I had my trail camera up in the tree, tied up there by where I had tied one of the wires. If you looked at the sequence of the trail cameras, I have them somewhere. I just don't have them. I couldn't find them today, but something pushed the camera. You could see about 5 clips in the video sequence. Something had pushed the camera up, so it was not facing the bag of apples. The bag of apples was gone.
Oh wow.
So somebody knew what they were doing, but that's neither here nor there. This is a really cool picture, and what I ended up doing, I bought the guy his own SD cards and mailed it to him. I said, Bob, you take this and tell your wife not to jack with your stuff because there's 5 or 6 other photos on there that are gone, and because she just put them in her camera and just shot over them.
Now, Carter, I know that you have probably heard a million things from skeptics of what this is other than Sasquatch. What have you heard?
This
Yes.
chimp. I mean, they look at it and go.
So no one's ever said, "Oh, that's a bear cub," or that's a.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I don't look like it to me. I just there's always those out there that will come up with, "Oh, that's something other than Bigfoot."
Yeah, no, the only photo that I've got that much crap from is the hand photo that's on the cover of my last book. The hand photo with the preacher walking there, 4-second difference there. That's the only one I've gotten garbage from. And I had an interesting analysis by somebody who said, "Is that a foot or a hand?"
Somebody commented on the pictures that I shared. I shared these pictures on several Facebook groups, and someone said they couldn't tell if it was toes or fingers.
Either one, I'm happy with, but just what is it?
That's not. And somebody said it's the farmer's hand. I'm sorry, that's not his hand.
Yeah, that's just I don't even get me started on the haters and trolls, or the misinformed. I understand you if you can't agree with what it is, you're going to make it something else that you want it to be, and that's just not what it is, So so another thing, do you know Snuffy Dyer?
I don't know him personally, but I know who
he's a Sasquatch guy. Mm-hmm. He had some fingerprints on the glass on his car or truck, and they looked remarkably like these fingers, kind of a weird shape, where the nail hits the bed there, and then the skin kind of grows down over it a little bit. It looked remarkably like that. I've sent him a PM. He hasn't got back with me yet. But yeah, either way, and there's 5 fingers there. You see the one over on the far right, number 2, 3, 4 on the very left, and right underneath the one there toward the left, there's the other one coming underneath it. And you see the hair. There's hair there.
Yeah.
There's hair underneath there's hair. You see the hair underneath. Can you see it if you blow it up? You see the hair on the
I can
very
see
edge
here.
of the three fingers on the left. You see hair. That's not some human hand. That's hair. If you blow it up, you see hair.
Yeah,
And
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it on the TV behind me. It's quite a bit bigger, and that's not a human hand.
Yeah, no, it's just not. You show me a hand like that, and I'll probably find out that guy was working in a circus somewhere. One of the 12 Wonders of the World or something. There's another one I've got that looks very similar to that with the hair. I sent that one to you. That kind of clear one, and that's got a great story to it.
Dude from Texas was asking what state this happened in. I'm not sure if you're talking about the hand or
the hand. I'm not going to tell you where. I mean, it's in Midwest.
Okay, but what about the juvenile? What state was that in?
Missouri.
Missouri. Okay.
Yeah. And show that other fingerprint. It's clear. It's on glass.
The one from last week?
No. I sent you one today. It's got it's a fingerprint.
I thought you did, and it's not on here. I'll tell you what I'll do, Carter. I'm going to pop up this other picture, and while you're talking about it, I'm going to go and see if I can find what you're talking about, the fingerprint, and I'll upload it real quick.
Yeah, it's
I mean, I've got it on here, I believe. It's just it take me a second.
It's got a great backstory to it.
Okay. Let me talk about this one real quick.
Okay. All right. This was in Illinois when I was scouting for the expedition, and I'd gone into the restaurant to talk and ask where's a good spot to go. An old farmer guy came up to me and says, "Hey, I've got a buddy who's having Sasquatch trouble at his house. He'd probably love to talk to you." He said he's got pictures. So, of course, I'm getting all excited. I'm going, "Oh, great." So I drive out there with a local and my two partners. And we thought, well, maybe we can go to his place too if he's okay with it. So the story about this picture, this was probably 10 years ago on a roll of film. Something had been attacking and tearing up this hickory tree. The hickory tree down there, they've got these long 3 or 4 or 5 inch long thorns on them. They're really nasty, Down in Texas, where I'm from, they got the locust trees, which is kind of the same thing, just really nasty. So some creature, they could hear it, but they never saw it. Just tearing up. You can see the claw marks and limbs were torn down. It was just attacking this tree for some odd reason. It was right outside his daughter's bedroom window. So he pulls this photo out, and I had to take. He had a developed film, a piece of just a regular photograph on film paper. He laid it on the seat of my car. I had to take a picture. So this is a picture of a picture. That's why it's kind of funky looking. It's not real clear. But what was going on, his daughter woke up and she saw this big hulking creature tearing his tree up. She goes, "I'm going to get a picture. I'm going to get it." So she grabbed her camera and she ran. I mean, how stupid or brave either one this is, because she was like a teenager at the time, like 17, 18. And so she runs out. And this is when I get photos like this, I render them black and white and negative to see if I get any more detail. And you can see there's a shoulder in the lower right. There's a shoulder, and you can see where the arm and the shoulder meet. There's kind of the armpit area in the chest, and a really elongated snout and elongated nose. Can't really tell. It's not real clear, but they said it was a dog man. That's the only thing they could come up with. By the time the rumor mill got back to me, it was a Sasquatch. He thought it was a Sasquatch problem, but Anyway, so his daughter is out there, and by the time she got back outside, she heard the noise and the tree still getting torn up, but she couldn't see anything doing it. She was going, what the heck? So she gets her camera and she raises her camera up to take the photo. And this thing was morphing back into a solid being. It was back into where you could see it. And when it was morphing back into a solid shape, its arm got caught in the strap of her camera and jerked it. So the picture is just not very good. But this is what you get, you know. And so they're devoutly religious people, and they thought this was satanic and evil. They took the camera and they threw it in a drawer and forgot about it for 4 years, 5 years. I can't remember how long. The daughter got spooked. She moved out within 2 weeks. I'm never coming back. She moved out of the house and never came back. Totally freaked. The wife would not talk to me. The husband, the farmer guy, he would, and he was a city slicker. He was some kind of executive with the Humana, some giant insurance conglomerate, and he retired to go live a farm life. And they bought this place out in the middle of nowhere, absolutely middle of nowhere, very close to the Trail of Tears. So that's the story on the photo. Fast forward to about 5 or 6 years after the daughter left, they see the camera as they're rummaging through a drawer and say, well, we're going to go up to Walmart and get these photos developed and see what's on here. And this is the photos that came out. So that's all I got to this story, but you can see a jaw, a nose, an eye. It's a humanoid shape with a head, but all I got was a picture of a picture, because that's all they had. He would not give me a photo, and he said, well, you can take a picture of it. So that's the story about that. But, you know, that's down there. This was probably 2 miles from where we ended up going on our expedition in that year, 2019.
That's creepy as hell.
Isn't it weird? Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, I've got a video of a dog, man. I can't share with you right now, but it's clear as a bell. I mean, you might as well have just gone out in your backyard and taken a picture of a bird bath with birds taking a bath. It's so clear and it's moving. And I'm trying to work with the guy to let me show it. It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. And there was 21 frames on the video I have, and I took every other frame and froze it, made a snapshot. So I got 11 snapshots of each frame that had something on it. And it shows the sequence of the creature walking by right at the camera. Then it takes a hard right, like it sees the camera at the last minute and decides to veer off. You can see the side of the head and a very, very large ear on the side of some hair-covered head.
You're really killing me, man. You're killing me.
I know. Give me $1,000. I'll send it to you. Just kidding. You know, 2,000 actually. No, it's just one of those things, you know. But like, people are sending me stuff because they know they can trust me and they want an opinion and they know I'm not going to laugh at them. So you know,
I mean, you don't want to ruin that trust.
No. I'm not going to jeopardize anybody's, you know, trust and all that kind of stuff. So, but so did you find that fingerprint?
I do. I've got it. If you're ready to go back to it.
Oh yeah.
Let's pop it up.
Now, what do you think of that there?
It's a fingerprint. Looks like, and I mean, to me, just looking at it off to the side there, that looks like hair coming off of it.
It's hair. It's a hairy fingerprint. It's a hair. And you see, next to my name there on the left, you see little scars or something on the finger. Here's the story. And this is very paranormal, very quantum, however you want to look at it. I've known this woman for 10 years, her and her husband. He's a non-believer. He has softened his stance a bit. They live in Missouri. They built a brand new house. You know, they had a little small cabin on a house, and they built a brand new, really nice big house. And so they moved her father into the small house so they could take care of him, keep an eye on him while he still has his autonomy, you know, away from him by himself. So they got finished with the building. The last nail went in the lumber, and she cleaned the house top to bottom, beautiful, gleaming. And this window is a place where it's just like an all seasons room, and they sit there and watch the woods from their room. She sits down one day and has a beer, and she's looking out the window. She goes, "What the blankety blank? Who got fingerprints on my good dang clean window? What?" But she was pissed because she had worked her ass off cleaning these windows. And so she grabs some Windex and a cloth and runs outside to clean up the glass. She thought, well, maybe one of the workers did something and, smeared it and just she missed it or something. She sprays it and rubs on it. It doesn't come off. It's on the inside of their house. Something came in and touched the window.
Damn it, boy.
The window that she looks out of, I have other photos. I didn't send you those. So they're good. They're marginal, but I mean, I know what they are. But if I have to explain what they are to people, they go, okay, that's a bunch of crap. So I don't even send them. She watches these Sasquatch standing under some trees about 25 yards from this room, looking in at the room. They sit there and watch them. They'll peek their head from behind the tree. Somehow they got in the house, whether by mystical, quantum, paranormal means, but they were these handprints were on the inside. And these windows, before they were installed, were sitting in a storage bin, and they got put up, and nobody was in the house because except workers. But if you got a worker that's got a finger like that, show him to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was inside of her house. They've had other weird things: taps on the windows inside the house, taps on the walls. Bizarre.
Now, I'm assuming this is one of your habituation cases.
Yeah. Theirs is in its infancy. It's probably about a couple of years. Her husband, like I said, he's not a believer, but he has gone from adamant skeptic to like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to criticize anymore, but I'm not going to tell you I believe. I'm just going to leave you alone. You want to tell me something, I'll listen. He just doesn't want to believe. One of the like several of the other, and it seemed to be the women that are contacted more than the men. But anyway, that's an intriguing photo. It's just, but it was on the inside of the house, and it is a big ass Sasquatch finger. I don't care what you say, or a gorilla escaped from a zoo and got in the house, took a nap, whatever, a nap and a crap. But just look at it.
It looks like hair. It looks like there's like little strands of hair coming off the side.
It is hair, and those little splotches. It's moisture from outside, and when she clicked the photo, that's kind of the flash. So the end of the tip of the finger is kind of obliterated there because that's the flash of the camera. And she didn't know it was on. She took another one, and it looks about the same. I've got 2 or 3 other photos, kind of like that, not as clear as that, but look at the dermal ridges. That's dermal ridges, guys.
Yeah.
That's a finger freaking print. That's just.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know many people that would argue that. I mean, that's a finger.
It is what it is. The handprint I've got up on my wall behind me, that's got dermal ridges on it. I took that to a police lab and I had them verify that's what it was. So that handprint right behind me over here, that's got dermal ridges all over. I sent that to you. I was going to, but it's, that photo there had a lot better story to it.
Did you cast that handprint?
My partner got it at one of our research areas here in Kansas City. It's called Monkey Mountain. It's out in Green Valley, Missouri.
Now, why would they call it Monkey Mountain?
Yeah, funny reason why. And there's 3 Monkey Mountains in Missouri. There's one in St. Joe. There's one here in Kansas City, and there's one down south somewhere, south of Missouri, in the Mark Twain Forest. There's a place called Monkey Mountain just as well.
Now, Carter, this might be a stupid question, and I mean, forgive me if it is. Sorry.
You get one. You get one stupid question.
You being in Missouri, y'all have the Momo.
Uh-huh.
Is Momo just what y'all call Bigfoot, or is there a different Bigfoot that is Momo?
It's different. It's supposed to be a Sasquatch. Here's the thing with Momo. It was seen, I think it was in the 70s, maybe 80s. There was only 2 or 3 verified reported sightings by a couple of teenagers, a guy and a girl parking one night, and a couple other people. The rest of it is kind of like folklore and stories building on stories, because the sightings and activity, once that came out, it kind of went away. So Momo is one of the first times where a Sasquatch type creature was recognized as maybe being running around here in Missouri. We're one of the top 10 states for sightings if you go by BFRO data or many other data. We're in the top 10.
Really? And I heard someone say like Illinois was like in the top 5, maybe.
Illinois, Ohio, of course, Washington State, California.
It just really surprises me that Illinois, because I don't think Bigfoot when I think Chicago,
Yeah, well, there's the Murfreesboro Monster. See, that's been a legend for a long time, and the Garden of the Gods is a national park or a state park down there. Beautiful, beautiful cliffs and rocks and caves. That's got a lot of sightings. So it's a well-kept secret, and nobody goes.
Talking about Missouri, when I first founded Manimal back in 2019, I met a gentleman out there, and he's an active police officer in Kansas City. He had an encounter years and years ago, and it's always stuck with him. And he ran a chapter of Manimal out there. It's just a small one, just him and another guy, doing brief expeditions. He had to quit because it interfered with his job, and I can't really get into it. But he had some buddies that were detectives that started this. It's not a polygraph, but it's another type of lie detector that's being admissible in courts now.
Mm-hmm.
And he paid them to do him on his encounter, and he passed it. Those 2 detectives came on a show of mine early on years ago. I had him and the 2 detectives that came on and talked to me. He passed with flying colors. He saw what he's saying he saw all those years ago.
Yeah, no, the Garden of the Gods, it's a state or national forest. I can't remember which. How much time we got? A couple minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
I got unless you got a question, I have a real good story.
No, go ahead.
Okay. My buddy Harold in Illinois, he's got a friend who is a forest ranger. And off the record, he admits to seeing them and believing. But on the record, they don't exist. No. So what he was going to let us go into a restricted area. We had to be there at 7 a.m. And so on the way there, we get a phone call that there are some people terrified, and they're trapped and being chased by a Sasquatch or a gorilla in the forest in the Garden of the Gods in Illinois. And so we're on our way to that area, and we're going to meet this ranger. And so we get there, and we find out where they are. They were screaming bloody murder. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. They were screaming, talking gibberish, and they were freaked out. They were stealing ginseng, which is a really big, lucrative market, and they prosecute that to the fullest extent. And a lot of the Asian community, they steal the ginseng because it's hard to grow, and they use them in the restaurants. And so it grows wild out there. And so these guys had gone out the night before with their backpacks, empty backpacks, and they filled them full of ginseng. And he busted them but when we got there, they were afraid to come out because they thought the Sasquatch was going to get them. Say, we're here. You're fine. Get out of there. Just get out. We're here. There's 4 of us here. Get out. Come on out. You're fine. And so they were terrified. These 2 little Asian guys were just like, one of them was bawling. He was shaking. He was, and they were just talking about, the Sasquatch. come after me, come after me. They chased them around all night because they were digging up ginseng. And so we got to watch this incredible scene where this guy is getting their IDs and taking their pictures and said, "You'll be getting a summons because you're under arrest for pilfering from a national forest because it's off limit, and you know that." And so, but they were like, this Sasquatch, I don't know how many, maybe it's just one, but they saw it at night because they got their headlamps on and they saw this creature, and they would not come out of the forest. They found a place to huddle together. It was hilarious, But I mean,
you have to believe that. You have to believe that story if they're that tore up about it.
Yeah, and if that was an act to get out of being arrested, Academy Award, giving it to Hocho and Bow Wow, whatever your name is, because you guys were awesome. I mean, if you were like shaking, and they were terrified, and it was just one of those weird things. You had to be in the right place at the right time to see that. I kind of felt bad for them just a little bit because I now have a really cool story to tell. But it was just, they were breaking the law, and it's a big market in certain areas where that stuff grows wild. It's kind of like finding the mushrooms everybody eats. What's the mushrooms?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They eat them all over the place here. They're all over. But it was hilarious. But there were Sasquatch sightings down there all the time. So Illinois is active. It's kind of quiet.
All right, Carter. Remind everybody where they can get your books, buddy.
Okie dokie. My website is sqexplorer.com. Real easy. SQEXPLORER.com. And if you want to buy all three at once, which I highly suggest, I will sell them all three for $50, and I'll eat the shipping. The books are like $20, $23, and $25, and with shipping it'd be close to $70. So I'll eat that. But the books are all really well done. They're full color, glossy paper. I autograph them. They're not the cheap black and white pulp black and white books. They're very nice, full color all the way through. They're real nice books, nicely done. I'm self-published. If you want to chat, you got something to tell me, you got an experience. If you're a habituation person who has some things going on your property, you're scared to tell anybody, so you don't want to get ridiculed, I totally get that. My email is sqexplorer@gmail.com. Real easy. But the books are really, they're good, not because I wrote them, but because I wrote them. But you know what I mean? They're nicely done books. They're not cheap black and white on that really flimsy paper. Just, the pictures look like crap. They look really, really good. They're nice books. I'm working on a fourth, and this is going to be all habituation property people. Now, some of these people are in one or two of my other previous books, but this is going to be habituation only. And there's some incredible stuff going on. I got 3 or 4 new people. I got something from a guy today, a brand new, he's a new guy. I've had him for about 4 months. It keeps coming in. It's crazy. They don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anybody to talk to who won't laugh at them. It's crazy.
Well, I won't laugh at you.
Well, no, I don't laugh at me. I said, I might put you in a book, but no name. All the names in my books are fictitious names. The locations are either fake or they're not even mentioned because that's not important. It's the event.
That's right.
And so I write these books because people need to know this stuff's going on. And somebody else is going to read this book like it happened, yesterday. I get an email from somebody out of the blue. I saw you on a podcast. I saw you on Wayne's podcast, and I got some good story. I got something to tell you here. I can't tell anybody. And so I'm going, wow, but it's really going on. And, those that know, like you and I, we know we're experiencers, but, people that can't even fathom that there's humans and Sasquatch sharing a couple of 100 acres. Yeah. And interacting. It's like a relationship. It's really happening, and nobody can buy that.
I keep waiting on my opportunity to meet somebody. I know I will eventually.
You will. You just keep flopping around, and you're going to run into somebody. Someone's going to call you one day, Wayne, and go, Wayne, I got something to tell you. You can't tell anybody. I haven't even told my wife. I haven't even told my husband. I mean, it's you just have to be in the right place at the right time. You got to meet one person. They'll tell somebody and they'll say, call Wayne because he will not laugh. Call Carter. He might put you in a book. Dang it. But it's awesome because it's sharing the reality of what's going on in the world. This stuff is really going on. And it's all part of trying to get an answer as to who and what these people are. And they are people. They're not animals. But we're animals. Look how we act. We're animals, Anyway.
I'll make sure I put those links in the show notes again. I did on the last one, so I'll do it again. Carter, I appreciate you taking the time to hang out, buddy. It's an open invitation to come back. I'd love to have you again one day.
Let me know. This book here, I've got an incredible activity. 100 pages of this. I think what have I got here? 200 pages, 300, 260 pages. 100 pages are one guy in Canada who's having. You think I told you some weird stuff tonight? This is like arms coming through the wall and touching him, and I mean it's totally Star Trek. You got to be kidding me. That can't be real, but it is.
I know you've got all kind of stuff we hadn't touched on yet.
Yeah. So, but if you read a couple of books, if you read a book or one, and you find a chapter or two or three, we can dedicate it to just one chapter or one subject. Because I got tons of this stuff. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
And after the show, which was really greatly received last time, I guarantee you, I'll get an email or a phone call from somebody. Invariably, it happens.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out. I won't keep you any longer. Enjoy your holiday. If you haven't already went and shot the fireworks and done all that good stuff, had your cookout. I don't know how that works.
Well, we're going to blow some stuff up tomorrow. I think I'm going to blow up my neighbor's fence.
Yeah, we did something Saturday. So, I mean, I don't know.
I did it with the granddaughter. She was over here. This was the first time lighting fireworks. She was like, oh, she's 7. She's autistic. So it was quite the experience for her because, with the booms and everything used to scare her. Now she's like, she knows she could put a flame to this thing and make it explode. I probably shouldn't have turned her on to that, but she loves it.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. You enjoy the rest of your night.
You too, man. Appreciate it, Wayne.
All right. Have a good one, bud.
Good night, everybody.
All right. There you go. Round 2 with Carter Buschardt is complete. More good stuff. Interesting pictures. And I can't believe the response. Carter and I were talking about it before I brought him on. The response on Facebook that we got to those pictures, and I shared them in my group, Manimal Research. I shared them on my homepage, my personal one, and then in the Sasquatch Odyssey, and then I think one other group, and it was Daryl Denton's group. I shared it, and it had over, I think, close to 300 people look at that thing and like 50 comments or something like that. It was crazy, the response. So I'm going to put these up as well and see what you guys have to say about that. All right, guys, everyone that hung out with me tonight, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much for spending your Monday evening with me. Got another show this Friday and another one the following Friday, and then we'll move to Tuesday after that. So, let's get out of here, guys. Happy 4th of July to everyone. Hope everyone stays safe. And y'all be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. And I'll see you next time. Bye.